Assalamualaikum. My name is ATIRA SYAHIRAH binti AZMAN, and today my group and I would like to talk about the company that we chose, which is Berjaya Corporation Berhad. Let's start first with the company background. Berjaya Corporation was established in 1984 by Tan Sri Vincent Tan Chi Yon. Berjaya Corporation formed when Tan Sri Vincent acquired a major controlling stake in Berjaya Industrial Berhad, which formerly known as Berjaya Kawat Berhad and now known as Reka Pacific Berhad. The situation causes changes in shareholding and also resulted in major changes in the business direction and dynamic growth of a diversified conglomerate under the name of Berjaya Corporation Berhad. There was major restructuring take place in October 1988 when Berjaya Group Berhad, which now known as Inter-Pacific Industrial Group Berhad, became the holding company of Reka Pacific Berhad. In 1969, the company gained official listing on Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad, or known as Bursa Securities. Upon the completion group restructuring in October 2005, Berjaya Group Berhad succeeded to enter the listing status on the main board of Bursa Securities. The listing of new shares took place on 3rd January 2006. The group is a diversified entity engaged in consumer marketing, direct selling and retail, financial services, hotels, resorts, vacation timeshare and recreation development, property, investment and development, gaming and lottery management. The group also engaged in environmental services and clean technologies investment, motor trading and distribution, food and beverages, telecommunication and information technology related services and products. We will move on to part A, segmental reporting under MFRS 8, which I will explain about management approach. Segment reporting is a component of an entity that engages in business activities from which it may earn revenues or incur expenses, whose operating results are reviewed by the chief operating decision maker to make decisions about resources allocation and performance assessments, which discrete, which are separate financial information is available.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Adila binti ROHIZIR, student number 2020859548, and I'm going to explain the factors to consider. There are 4, which are nature, product or service, nature, production process, type of customer, and method to distribute. The first one is nature, product or services. In Berjaya Corporation Berhad, they have both product and service. They have 6 major business segments, which are financial services, marketing of consumers' product and services, property investment and development, hotels and resort, gaming and related activities, and also restaurant. Next factor that need to be considered is nature production process. The first one is financial service segment. Inter-Pacific Capital Syndrome Berhad is one of B Corp subsidiaries. It is a stockbroking company and they have 5 offices located in Kuala Lumpur, Penang and Johor Bahru. They have 500 people, dealer, representative and staff. Next is marketing of consumer products and service segments. Kosoi Corporation Berhad became wholly owned subsidiary of B Corp on June 2012. It is a hybrid consumer marketing company which blends the best features of a global network marketing system with the convenience and reach of a wide retail chain. The third one is property investment and development segment. The property investment division owns 4 commercial properties, which are Plaza Berjaya, Kota Raya Complex, Berjaya Mega Mall, and also Wisma Causeway. They have achieved an average occupancy rate of 57% during the financial period under review compared to 70% in the previous financial year. For development business segment, they have primarily involved in the development of the group's land, bank locally and abroad. The fourth one is hotel and resort segment. Berjaya Corporation owns and operates 16 hotels and resorts locally and internationally. Main hotels and resorts owned by them is Berjaya Langkawi Resort, Berjaya Times Square Hotel, ANSA Kuala Lumpur, Berjaya Penang Hotel, and so on. Next business segment is Gaming and Related Activities segment. Berjaya Sports Toto Berhad is also owned by Berjaya Corporation Berhad. It is principally engaged in the operation of Toto, which are betting, leasing of online lottery equipment, the development of the Toto, manufacturing and distribution of computerized wagering, and lastly, voting system. Next business segment is Restaurant segment. Berjaya Starbucks Coffee Company Sdn Berhad is owned by Berjaya Corporation Berhad. Also, Berjaya Roaster Sdn Berhad, Roaster Asia Pacific Hong Kong Limited, Jollibee Foods Limited, Berjaya Krispy Kreme Donuts Sdn Berhad. However, Berjaya Corporation Berhad also have other segments such as education, golf and equestrian, clubs and recreation, environmental and clean technology service, and also telecommunication.
Type of customer for the product and services offered varies from customer to customer. All customers are different. They vary in their expertise, experience, and expectations. There are 5 types of customer, which are loyal customer, impulse customers, discount customers, need-based customer, and wandering customer. Berjaya Corporation will consider all of these customers as it will generate profit for their company. Method used in distributing products are different as it depends on the type of products and service rendered. In marketing of consumers' products and services, the company uses online sales and will continue its rebranding strategies in terms of store concept expansion into the younger demographic market and also revamping its training strategies as well as expanding their Muslim-friendly product lines. Movement in the stock market and expect a global stock market in providing the services is the method used in financial service. For hotels and resorts, it is clearly known that it provided accommodations for the people. The group is primarily involved in the development of the group's land bank locally and abroad. They launch apartments, condominiums, house residences, and shop lots. While in property investment, Berjaya Corporation owns 4 commercial properties to attract anchor tenants. Gaming services are being provided by leasing of online lottery equipment, the development, manufacturing, and distribution of computerized wagering and voting system. Other than that, Berjaya Corporation also has restaurants such as Starbucks, Krispy Kreme Donuts, Kenny Rogers Roaster, and Jollibee to distribute and provide their products. As for others, it might come from the education that provides academic programs, equestrian clubs and recreations, environmental and clean technology services, and lastly is telecommunications, which is a red tune that offers data and voice services as well as Wi-Fi hotspot to be used.
Next is type of segment. Berjaya Corporation is organized on a worldwide basis and presents its segmental information based on business segments, which are financial services, marketing of consumer product and services, property investment and development, hotels and resorts, gaming and related activities, restaurants, and others. The geographical segmental information is prepared based on the location of the assets. However, the segment revenue by geographical location of where the sales are being transacted does not differ materially from the segment revenue by geographical location of assets. Next is CODM and its responsibilities. In Berjaya Corporation, the CODM was held by Datuk Sri Robin Tan Yong Ching, the Chief Executive Officer of the company, or as known as CEO. The responsibilities of Datuk Sri Robin Tan Yong Ching are: he focused on the business objectives and lead senior management in making and implementing day-to-day decisions. Next, he is also responsible in managing and allocate resources. Not only that, he is also responsible in managing risk of the company. After that, he also bring materials and other relevant matters regarding the company to the board. Last but not least, he also make decisions about resources to be allocated to the segment and also assessing its performance. The next one is 10% threshold test. Based on the report from Berjaya company, there are 7 segments that we allocate, which are financial services, marketing of consumer product and services, property investment and development, hotels and resorts, gaming and related activities, restaurants and others. For 10% threshold test, we calculate using identifiable asset test. The result will be considered reportable when it is 10% or 10% higher than the threshold test, while the result will be considered non-reportable when it is lower than 10%. The first one is financial services. The result for this segment is non-reportable because the percentage is lower than 10%. The second one is marketing of consumer product and services. The result for this segment is reportable because it is higher than 10%. The third one is property investment and development. The result for this segment is reportable because it is higher than 10%. The fourth one is hotels and resorts. The result for this segment is higher than 10%, so therefore it is reportable. The fifth one is gaming and related activities. The result for this segment is reportable because the percentage is higher than 10%. The sixth one is restaurant. Restaurant is non-reportable because it is lower than 10%. And the last one is others. The result for this segment is non-reportable because it is lower than 10%. Therefore, Berjaya company have recorded 4 reportable segments and 3 non-reportable segments.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am IZZAH bin HANAFI. Next, let's go through slide 21. After identifying the reportable segments, the company should ensure that the total external revenue attributable to those reportable segments is at least 75% of the company's total revenue. If the results satisfy the 75% test, additional reportable segments should not be identified as other reportable segments. As shown in the slide is the formula for 75% threshold test. Since we use AZZAH's approach to calculate Berjaya Corporation's 10% threshold test, therefore 75% threshold test is not applicable. Refer to the table of segment report. There are 7 items that are to be divided into 2 groups, which are reportable operating segments and non-reportable operating segments. Under the reportable operating segment, we have gaming and related activities with 2.717688 billion total revenue, RM 2.909782 billion total revenue of marketing of consumer products and services, RM 347.921 million and RM 409.546 million for property investment and development and hotels and resorts respectively. On the other hand, RM 58.821 million of financial services, RM 664.855 million of restaurants, and RM 100.617 million of others lay under non-reportable operating segments. The profit before tax and its total assets shows a total number of RM 6.235945 billion and RM 22.281829 billion respectively.
For conclusion, segmental reporting offers better sense of nature and financial effects of the business activities in which it engages and the economic environments in which it operates. Having said that, there are advantages and disadvantages on segmental reporting depending on how information is used by the company, which is Berjaya Corporation Berhad. So the key advantages for the segmental reporting in Berjaya Corporation Berhad are separation of profitable segments, data manipulations, and also improved context. Separation of profitable segments help the company in revealing which segments are profitable and which are not, to show transparency of business ventures, as the managers cannot hide the unprofitable segments. Next, data manipulation allows the company to determine how segments are constructed. As for Berjaya Corporation Berhad, they grouped clubs and recreations and plantation segments which are not of a sufficient size to be reported separately under other business segments. So therefore, the shareholders can get the message desired. And lastly, improve context where it allows shareholders to see the fluctuation that might affect overall numbers. As Berjaya Corporation Berhad adopts business segments analysis as its primary reporting, the shareholders can see the source of the earnings. Regardless of the advantages, segmental reporting also brought upon the disadvantages to Berjaya Corporation Berhad, such as opportunity to competitors, misinterpretations, and limited productions. Segmental reporting can give an opportunity to the competitors as they can speak on how the company operates and its profit margins. In the case of Berjaya Corporation Berhad, the company's gaming and related activities segments are at the stake as it is the company's most profitable segments, and segment reporting also can lead to misinterpretation of data in other words, it is matter concerns Berjaya Corporation Berhad as their figures by segment are larger than the group sales figure. So a problem may arise in determining the share of costs and revenues out of those incurred on individual segments. Last but not least, limited production in specific segments is a disadvantage for Berjaya Corporation Berhad as well. From the segmental reporting, it shows how the revenue for restaurants and others are at the bottom line as well.
Now we move to the next part, Part B, Interim Report under MFRS 134. As we can see, there are two main bases in identifying interim reports, which are Interim method and the Secret method. Let's see the distinction of the characteristic between these two methods. First, expenses. Under Interim methodology, the interim period is considered to be an integral part of the annual accounting period. As such, annual expenses that may not arise specifically during an interim period, nonetheless are accrued within all interim periods, based on management best estimates. The heightened level of accrual usage likely will result in numerous accrual adjustments in subsequent periods to deal with any earlier estimation errors. It also calls for the use of the estimated annual tax rate for all interim periods, since the annual tax rate may vary considerably from the rate in effect during the interim period if the company is subject or graduated tax rates. On the other hand, under discrete methodology, each interim period is considered to be a discrete reporting period and as such is not associated with expenses that may arise during other interim periods of the reporting year. A result of this thinking is that an expenses benefiting more than one interim period will be fully recognized in the period incurred rather than being recognized over multiple periods. Next, distinction between interim report and annual report. For an integral interim report, distinction needs to be done but not for discrete interim report. Lastly, accounting policies. Under discrete view, same accounting principles and practices used for annual reporting are used for interim reporting. Thus, no special treatment for over or under-applied overhead at interim dates and no special accrual and deferral treatments. Opposite to discrete interim report, the same accounting principles and practices used for annual reporting are not always used in integral view. Therefore, a special treatment for over or under-applied overhead at interim dates can be used. In addition, special accrual and deferral treatments are allowed. Moving on to the next slide. Two types of accounting policies that are going to be discussed on this topic are the same accounting policies as annual and use of estimate. To begin with the same accounting policies, an entity shall apply the same accounting policies in its interim financial statements as are applied in its annual financial statements, except for accounting policy changes made after the date of the most recent annual financial statements that are to be reflected in the next annual financial statements. However, the frequency of an entity's reporting, annual, half-yearly or quarterly, shall not affect the measurement of its annual results. To achieve that objective, measurements for interim reporting purposes shall be made on a year-to-date basis. Requiring the entity apply the same accounting process may seem to suggest the interim period measurements are made as if each interim period stands alone as an independent reporting period. However, by providing that the frequency of an entity's reporting shall not affect the measurement of its annual results. Year-to-date measurements may involve changes in estimates of amounts reported in prior interim periods of the current financial year. But the principles for recognizing assets, liabilities, income, and expenses for interim periods are the same as in annual financial statements. To illustrate, the principles for recognizing and measuring losses from inventory write-downs, restructurings, or impairments in an interim period are the same as those that an entity would follow if it prepared only annual financial statements. However, if such items are recognized and measured in one interim period and the estimate changes in a subsequent interim period of the financial year, the original estimate is changed in the subsequent interim period either by accrual of an additional amount or loss or by reversal of the previously recognized amount. Next, use of estimate. The measurement procedures to be followed in an interim financial report shall be designed to ensure that the resulting information is reliable and that all material financial information that is relevant to an understanding of the financial position or performance of the entity is appropriately disclosed. While measurements in both annual and interim financial reports are often based on reasonable estimates, the preparation of interim financial reports generally will require a greater use of estimation methods than annual financial reports. For better understanding, let's refer to the illustration on the slide. Income tax expenses is recognized in each interim period based on the best estimates of the weighted average annual income tax rate expected for the full financial year. Amounts accrued for income tax expenses in one interim period may have to be adjusted in a subsequent interim period of the financial year if the estimate of the annual income tax rate changes. As we go through the company's interim report for fourth quarter ended June 2020, segment report prepared by the company that can be identified are condensed consolidated statement of profit or loss, condensed consolidated statement of other comprehensive income, condensed consolidated of statement financial position, condensed consolidated of statement of changes in equity, and lastly condensed consolidated statement of cash flow.
Next, we are going to identify the period of the current and the comparative for each statement prepared by the company. So this is the statement of profit or loss prepared by the company. For the statement of profit or loss, the current period, as you can see over here, it ended on 30th June 2020 and will be comparative to 30th June 2019. And as you can see here, the amount are not available. This is because the period of quarter 4 of 2019 is included in reporting period 2020, as there were changes in financial year by Berjaya Corporation Berhad. And this is the continuation of the statement of profit or loss before. And this is the statement of financial position of Berjaya Corporation Berhad. And for statement of financial position, the current period where the 12-month ended date is, as you can see here, is 30th June 2020, and the comparative period is 30th June 2019. This is the statement of changes in equity. For the current period, it is on 30th June 2020, and the comparative period is on 30th June 2019. And this is the continuation of the statement of changes in equity. And lastly, this is the cash flow of Berjaya Corporation Berhad. And as you can see, it is the same. The current period is on 30th June 2020 and the comparative period is on 30th June 2019.
For the last question in part B, the question needs us to propose any two adjustments made by the company to be included in the interim report and prepare an extract of the financial statement to show the effect before and after adjustment. So we made two adjustments that will affect the statement of profit or loss. The first one is donation. The company donated $50,000 to a COVID-19 pandemic fund in the fourth quarter of 2020. The second one is rental relief. The company agreed to extend the rental relief to its eligible tenants from 14 days to 30 days. This has impacted and reduced the total revenue of the Berjaya Corporation. The amount estimated is 86,000. As shown above, the company profit amounting to RM141,236 million and suffered a loss after deducting the tax expenses. The loss after tax is more than 100 million. This is the SOPL that we made adjustments to it. As shown, the company has a profit of 141,100 million even after deducting the donation and rental relief expenses. But the company suffered a loss after deducting taxation amounting of RM101,143 million in quarter 4 of 2020. Loss before and after adjustment will show the increasing of 136,000 in SOPL. Next, we compare the statement of profit or loss in quarter 4 with the annual report for the year ended 30th June 2020. The gross profit for the year is 1.876 billion. After adding the income and deducting all the expenses, the profit for the year will be 145,085 million. The taxation for the year is more than 260 million, which makes the loss after tax is more than 90 million. The SOPL in annual report and adjustment made will show increasing of 136,000. That's all from us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.